Hello, everybody. It's Amy and Jim. Welcome to Make It Monday. Come on in, grab a snack, grab something to drink. We're going to talk about buttonholes and resurgence of garment sewing. Jim was in Cincinnati at the Original Sewing Quilt Expo. People want to learn to sew clothes again. Guess what? That makes me happy, right?
Pretty much all of our, like the garment construction classes were sellouts. It was great to see that.
It was good. I'm working on a quilted jacket. Everybody wants to turn a quilt or a coverlet or something into a jacket. That's going to be a great class. That's going to be easy, super easy to do. And then, of course, our Surgery subscription, we're making PJs next month. So what do we got today, Jim? We're
buttonholes.
Buttonholes.
Because a lot of times, a lot of people say like one of the easier parts is putting the garment together, but the finishing touch, like the buttonholes, is
makes
like, or make or break.
Or breaks your garment.
Yeah. And usually too, hi, Vicki.
Vicki's here. Linda's
it was good
here.
to seeing you. And Linda, and a lot of times too, is if you follow the buttonhole alignment strip or markings or whatever they put in the pattern envelopes, never match up to where they need to be on a lady.
Correct, especially in the booby area, right? You need
to. There's different challenges that we have. And I'm going to throw this in, even like if you have a pre-made blouse, let's say you like to wear, and I've talked to a lot of ladies that they either pin it, and you can always see that pin in that one spot, and it's an eye catcher because you can't miss it. Or they may put double stick tape or whatever, and it makes it really bulky. What I had suggested to them is like if you have, let's say you need a buttonhole here, add a buttonhole here on that finished garment, and then go down to the skip one and go to the next one and do it. So you have like a triple button and a space, and it makes a designer detail.
I agree.
And you have that fixed in. But if you're doing it from scratch, I got a way to make your buttonholes look better.
Yay, I'm sure you do. Jim's an amazing technician. You guys know that by now. So,
number 3. There we go. So I'm in front of a Brother pace setter right now, and this will work on any machine. If you have that little red dot, that's a big game player here, because a lot of times when people do buttonholes, and in class I had people saying their buttonholes never look good. One side seems open than the other. Like the zigzagging doesn't look as good, and also it kind of angles. So it's more like a V shape. It's not two parallel lines. And if you think about it, a zigzag stitch in sewing is considered a satin stitch in embroidery. So why not consider embroidery? So I got a placket here set up, and what I did was I put stick-on stabilizer on the back side. So it's kind of like machine embroidery.
Right, and it holds the placket down.
Right, and I purposely chose a dark fabric because if I was going to put my markings on here, it's always kind of hard to see on a dark fabric. And then sometimes we use like those white pencils or chalk, and then the line never goes away.
Zach just learned that after embroidering 100 Boy Scout scarves that were red, he used that magic chalk iron away, and it won't come out of the red.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a very painful lesson. But so Jim's on a Brother PS 700. The PS 500 is its little sister. And we sell a ton of these machines, right? So they're a great machine. Yeah. And most electronic machines these days, when you unplug the foot control, the start-stop button works.
Yeah.
And that's what Jim was referring to with the red button.
Right, because one of the problems with that irregular stitching is if you're relying on your foot control, a lot of times when you're doing your buttonhole, you kind of lean in and look into it. And when you lean in, you inadvertently push further down on your pedal, making the machine sew faster. It's not sewing at a consistent rate of speed. And if you keep varying the speed of the buttonhole, you're going to get the gaps in your stitching. I learned that from a technician. So I'm going to use that start step. So if I have that little button here, I'm going to make sure my foot control is unplugged.
And how do you know what size buttonhole you're making?
I actually have my button in the back of the machine.
Right, yeah, you get that little slide in the back.
And I have my little wand already placed down. And I have my stabilizer on the back of my placket. I like to put a piece on top of my placket. So this way, it's like I'm putting it in an embroidery hoop. And one of the things I quite often do is after I do my test sew, I watch how the machine sews out. So I have my marking here that I'm going to follow. And I always put an arrow on it because this way it reminds me my button is sewing toward the back. So I know this is the alignment part.
Right.
And it also kind of conveniently matches the button on my machine because on my little red button right now, it has narrow pointing toward the back. It's kind of a reminder, put the fabric toward the back. And I got it lined up with that little line I drew.
There's a line on your foot, right? Lines
Yep.
everything up.
Everything lines up. And I lower my presser foot and it turns green. So I now know I can go sew. And I can sit back, take a sip of coffee, or iced tea, whatever.
Right. So if you see how this is sewing, it went forward and back on the left side. So when it does the satin bars, the knots are to the outside.
Yep.
Not every machine does that, and you need to test it. If your buttonholes look wonky, maybe it's because it's going up, back, and doing the buttonhole and not changing directions.
Yeah.
Right. That's a biggie. Oh, Geraldine's calling from Hilton Head. I could use the beach.
There's my buttonhole.
Perfect. Nice satiny. It's even. It's balanced.
And then if I wanted to, I can just go ahead and get that away now. Or if I use a wash away, wash it out.
Right. Just
Done.
Perfect. And you need that.
And it's perfectly flat and smooth.
Yes.
Every time.
Right. So I mean, most machines now come with at least 10 buttonholes.
Yeah.
Right. All different kinds of buttonholes. That's a whole nother class. What buttonhole is for what
Yeah.
fabric. There's a lot to learn there. So with the buttonhole foot, can you snap it off? Are you gonna do another one? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just getting prepped in case we need to do another one.
Okay. I was gonna
Do your
show
thing.
the foot skis. All right. So here is the back where Jim puts the button. Now, if your button is super thick, I would open this up a little bit. Do you think so, Jim? This is just a flat button. Specialty designer buttons, you're going to have to do some test runs and try to test on the same fabric you're making with the same stabilizer, the same interfacing, whatever you got going on. Will you agree, James?
Yes.
Yep. And then this floats freely. And this is the stop right here. It's hard to see in the white. That's the stop. And that's where that little arm that you pull down inside your machine tells it when to turn around when it selects that.
Yeah.
So that's, all right, let's see. We got people asking if anybody, Dorothy needs help in this area. Dorothy, we all do, but as Jim is showing this on this beautiful little machine, my thing is I use my embroidery machine for buttonholes.
But not everybody has an embroidery
Not
machine
everybody
yet.
has.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. They
Yeah.
call me if you need one, right? And that's how your buttonholes are made when you buy a commercial shirt. They line them up, put them in a jig, and it's just it's all done.
You know, all the person does is slay the fabric there, and the machine does all the work.
Lines everything up. So anyway, you doing something else?
Well, just for those that tuned in late, just a little
Tuned in
reminder.
late?
Yep.
Who tunes in late?
How dare they?
I
Again,
know.
I just got my stabilizer, the stick-on type on the backside. It will not gum up your needle. They're that sophisticated now.
Right.
And then I would prefer like a wash away because then I know I can take every bit of it out. I would just also put a piece on the top. This way too, if I was working on a knit, it'll help make it easy to get that knit fabric under the foot too by putting that stabilizer on top, and it'll hold all the fibers in place, whether even though it's on a sweater knit.
Right. That's a great tip because then there's something for that foot to glide over evenly. If you have like a little nub or something in your fabric,
It'll hold the nubs in
Yeah.
place so it can stitch them down.
Perfect.
Lower my presser foot. I did slow it down this time so we can watch how a lot of them now, when they go to sew, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. After ties, it's actually going to sew a reinforcement stitch. So it's going to go back and forth, and then it'll overcast that stitch. And a lot of us also use fray preventatives on the buttonhole area. I like to put it on the top and the back side after it's sewn, let it dry, and then I cut them. That way you get a really nice, true, even, open, and clean buttonhole.
I know when you cut them, do you do the pin trick? We can show that. You're super skilled, Jim. So Jim doesn't have issues that Amy has. So
I use a cutting mat and an X-Acto knife.
Well, that's a good way to cut it. But I hate when people put fray check on buttons because it just buttonholes just looks.
Well, what I do is I do it before it's cut. I put it right in the little welt where I'm going to cut, and I hit it with my iron to dry it instantly so it doesn't shade the fabric.
Okay, that's the way to go then.
Yeah, because a lot of times if you allow the fray preventatives to bleed in, it'll actually shade the fabric.
All right. So here is our
We got a nice looking buttonhole there.
beautiful buttonhole. So this is the first one. This is the stabilizer residue, just a damp cloth. We'll get rid of that. And then here is the good one. So this is his placket, right? This is the back. And I love the fact that this keeps that placket from shifting.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when it's up against the feed teeth and the pressure will cause your placket to shift, but it's folded underneath here, held nicely. What I like to do when I cut my buttonholes open is I just put a pin. Put a pin. Oh my gosh, I can't put a pin in there.
This is the magic of live television.
What kind of pin is that? Lordy. Every pin I have here is bad. They're all bent. They're all, this is nuts. So you're going to put a pin across this edge, right? So now when you go to rip, it doesn't rip through the buttonhole, right? So you're just going to go ahead and just go right through the end.
So it's like putting a barrier up.
Yes.
So you can't cut through the stitching.
Yeah. So when you plunge your seam ripper in, oh, there's a lot of fabric here. And this way I cannot rip through that. And I get a nice clean opening.
Nice.
So that is the buttonhole. So just so y'all know, today is October 20th, Monday. If you're watching the repeat tonight, October 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern, Jim and I are going to be live doing about an hour-long free serger class, which is great. So we'll be here on all the Facebook pages, all the YouTube pages. Make sure you set an alarm for it. And then over my shoulder over here, we have a few of the Christmas boxes, the Joy of Stitching boxes. There's 25 gifts to get you through the 25 days of Christmas. And you can just go to amysews.com for that. So I'll see some of you tonight. And if you go to the Facebook page, Amy Bachman Sew and Quilt, the Facebook page, and go to channels and like our channel, because you want to get notified. I send everybody a message we were going live. So.
And if your friends didn't catch us, tell your friends before tonight.
Right. And you can share the video tonight. You can do whatever your little heart desires. So, all right, everybody, have a terrific day, because the more you know,
The more you sew.